Well, hi team. I'm Fitz Kohler, your perfectly bossy fitness pro from fitzness.com. Welcome to the Fitzness Show and happy freaking 2026. I think this is going to be a wonderful year for me and for all of my listeners. I have no doubt. I feel good about this one. I think things are looking up and we're all in a great place, and I am amped to help you age backwards this year. This is the theme of this year: age backwards. Last year it was get strong. Hopefully, you have adopted the strength training is the fountain of youth concept and have started executing that. I've seen so many of you throughout 2026. Remember in January last year where I told you to do a lot of angry ups, and you did, and they made you angry, but they also made you stronger. And so many of you who said, I can't do an angry up. You did them, and then you did a bunch of them, and then you started liking your abs a bit more. You started liking your quads a bit more, and all of the other body parts, as we've been doing lots of strength training challenges. So strength training continues from today moving forward. But I do want you to embrace the concept of aging backwards. Uh, I have, I'm not tooting my own horn. I just feel like I have, right? I feel better than I did 5 years ago, certainly. But as far as I can tell, I feel as good as I did when I was 23. 23, I was competing as a full contact kickboxer. I was in the best shape of my life. I felt good about my body. I felt good about my energy. My sleep was good. And I'm right back there where all of that stuff feels wonderful. And the reason is I put in so much effort, right? It's the accumulation of all of the efforts that eventually start to pay off. And so we're going to discuss the nuts and bolts of aging backwards today, of earning a healthy, fit body that looks great, feels great, performs great. In fact, I'm going to back up. Looks, feels, and performs its best. The best it can. I want you to get there. I want you to max out. I don't even believe maxing out on your physical greatness is possible, but I want you to try. I want you to try. So that's the theme of the day. If you have not done so already, please hit subscribe wherever you listen to the Fitzness Show. If you do that, whenever I post a noisy episode, I come on and I start telling you what to do or interviewing great guests, you get notification and you can just click play. And there I am. There I am, right in your ears, right in your mind, getting you to do better and be better. And then, of course, if you have not picked up your copy of You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity, what are you waiting for? I mean, if you listen to my show, this is it times 400 plus pages, times 300 plus photos. All the golden nuggets are in there. I say lots of things in these episodes. I feel like the show is very well rounded and I constantly contribute. But this book, it's all in there. This one's the masterpiece, and I'm so excited for you to read it. So hurry up, head on over to fitzness.com. I have all sorts of different discount codes out right now. If you order quickly, you get discount code 2020. Yeah, 2026 saves you 26%. That's the largest of the year. It will not get better than that. But yeah, use Supercharge. Get one for you. Get one for all your friends. Hey, if you get supercharged and they don't, then you have to watch them drop off. But if you get supercharged and then they get supercharged too, y'all can stick around like vampires, just admiring each other and having shitloads of fun forever and ever. Okay, so the last episode, well, not the last, because I posted 2 quality interviews. Earl Barnes, the firefighting Ironman amputee. That's a great interview. If you haven't heard that, folks, listen. It's just a recent post or recent podcast. And then Danny Duncan, who is my Australian doppelganger. I was introduced to Danny and we clicked. She has very similar philosophies as I do. And I just very happy to be her friend. And we had a wonderful conversation. But before that, the last podcast was me saying Happy New Year on January 1st. Now, mind you, I pre-recorded that show because I knew I would be occupied the morning of January 1st. And I was. And I also wisely predicted that I would be hungover that morning. Now, here's the deal. You might be thinking, Fitz Kohler, you're telling me that I need to live healthy and do all this stuff. And now you're going to tell me that you drank alcohol on New Year? Gasp. Well, yeah, because I also tell you all the time, perfect is boring. I have zero expectations that you will be a perfect person. And in fact, if you do the things I tell you to do on the norm, On the rare occasion you do decide to tie one on, well, it doesn't hurt so bad and you recover pretty quickly. And I have to tell you, I freaking tied one on. Now, my best friend, Christy, she's had a hell of a year. 2026 was rough. She beat cancer. She dumped a garbage husband. Yeah, I'm saying it. She divorced the most tragic bleh, man ever, which was a big accomplishment for her. So that was a celebration. And she bought her own house. She's had a huge year. I'm so proud of her. So I called her a few days before New Year's and I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I was invited to my friend by my friends to go to dinner and a party, but I'm not sure I want to go. I don't want to be a third wheel." And I said, "How about I be your fourth wheel?" And she said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." And so I drove up to Tallahassee. It's only 2 hours away from my house. And I got to see her house, which is beautiful. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her. But then we went out. Now, hey, this is where it gets a little wonky. We go to a restaurant. It's Christy and I and two couples, really lovely, fun, nice people that Christy's good friends with. And I'm grateful to call them friends. But we sat down and everybody has some wine. And I asked the waitress for beer. I'm a beer girl, not wine, champagne. I really love beer. And so I get some sort of blonde ale, whatever, pint. And we have dinner. And then the waitress comes over after a while and says, "Can I give you another?" And I said, "Yes, you can give me a second, but do not give me a third. You understand? Don't even offer me a third beer." And she says, "Okay." Now, mind you, my constant is to limit myself to 2 drinks of whatever I'm having. It's 2, I max out there, and then I never get into trouble, right? So I have the second beer and I say, "Okay, no more." I tell Christy, "Don't let them serve me another beer." And she goes, "You got it." So we have dinner and we're already kind of silly because 2 beers is a lot for Fitz Kohler. And then the party we were headed to was on the rooftop, or a top floor of a hotel. It was really fancy shindig with a DJ and a cash bar and a photo booth and food and stuff. So, and we dressed cute. I mean, I just had reddish leather pants and a little black tank top, but oh, and my cowboy boots. That's very important to point out. The black cowboy boots came out, and I do love any occasion where I get to wear cowboy boots. Also, I have new cowboy boots that I can't wait to show you all. They're the cutest. Ah, so, anyhow, so we have our 2 beers and we go to the hotel, and one of her friends, one of the couples has a room in the hotel. They say, "Do you want to come back and hang out in the room before we go upstairs?" And I say, "Yeah, that's great." So we go over there and they have beer. And so I forget about my 2 drink limit and I had another beer. So now I'm 3 drinks into the night before we even get to the party. And then we get to the party and the music is pumping and people are dancing. And I'm not sure it happened, but or how it happened, but a gin and tonic gets put in my hand. I think it was Christy saying, "What do you want?" I went, "Gin and tonic," which I shouldn't have said. But I did. I said gin and tonic, probably because I had already had 3 beers and I was feeling no pain, right? So she brings me a gin and tonic, and then I never once ordered a drink. I want to tell you this. I never ordered a drink, but people kept bringing me gin and tonics, and I don't have any clue how many I had, but boy, did we have endless fun. We danced nonstop for hours. We made lots of friends, none of whom I can remember their names or anything about them, but we had the best time. And Christy is jet fuel for me. If she's around, I have put my slam my foot on the gas and I just keep going. And so we had barrels of laughs and it just was such a good time. But there was a photo booth, where there's a iPad on a stand. You just click take pictures and then takes 3 pictures and then puts them in a little thing and then you can text it to yourself, has a backdrop. So at the beginning of the night, I said, "Oh, let's go take pictures." So it's just Christy and I, and we're posed kind of, I don't know, ladylike, I guess, holding hands, looking at the camera, whatever. 45 minutes later, "Let's go and take more pictures." They're getting wilder. I mean, you could see us degrade as the night went on. There's photos where we're upside down. There were strangers that I didn't know, and I felt like I was at a running event. I say, "Can I get your picture?" So now I'm in the photo booth, photos for all of these people who have no idea who the blonde tornado was, because I'm probably one of the only non-locals that were there. But holy hell, we had the most fun. And when I woke up, I wasn't feeling so good. As you can imagine, I haven't been sick from alcohol in a long time, and I was praying to the porcelain gods, and the very first time I threw up, I thought, "You know what? I deserve this. Shame on me. I have a 2-drink limit. What happened? I don't even know." And then a few hours later when I was still throwing up, I thought, "Please stop. Please stop throwing up." But whatever. I haven't done that in years. I can't even tell you the last time I had drank so heavily. So it was fun. Happy, happy New Year. I survived it. Christy survived it. She was hungover too. I don't think she did any puking, but whatever. Whatever. You know what? Perfect is boring. Unless you're an alcoholic and you should never have a drink again, then you should be perfect. Those folks should be perfect, but I'm not. I can handle it on a rare occasion, and I did. I paid the price for it, but it was a great time. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year. Usually I'm just at home watching TV, falling asleep before the ball drops, but yeah, I had a big time and it was fantastic. So, starting 2026 off with a big old bang. All right, now that I've spilt the beans and confessed so hardcore, we are going to move on. Now, I just want to go over. We're going to do an overview of the things you need to be focused on. And then in the upcoming weeks, I'm going to dedicate individual shows to individual topics. But weight management, weight loss, I should say, is the number one resolution. Now, here's the deal. I know many of you don't make resolutions, and I'm not always committed to resolutions either, because I truly believe if you have change to make, you should make it today, like immediately. Don't wait till New Year's. Don't wait to an arbitrary date to start improving yourself. Wake the freak up and get it done, right? You start immediately. And so New Year's resolutions aren't necessarily high on my priority list that everybody needs to make one. Sometimes they're a good thing. One time I made a resolution that I should get out of my gym clothes and dress at least in casual clothes, upgrade, just stop walking around in exercise pants all the time. And I did, and it definitely made my life better. And I've stuck with that. I don't wear exercise clothes on the airplane. We've discussed this before, but that's just an upgrade I make. I try not to wear tights everywhere. So that was a nice resolution for me that worked. But I know there's a great majority of the population that does, if they do make weight resolutions, they make weight loss resolutions. So for those of you who are trying to either lose weight or maintain your weight, I want you to know about the exact formula for weight loss. This is not a diet. Diets are temporary measures that lead to temporary results. They usually involve a enormous amount of suffering and frustration, which is why people quit. They're hokey. You should never, and I do mean never, even consider intermittent fasting or keto or the grapefruit diet or whatever freaking stupid diet, paleo. Don't do that crap. You can just be a grown up and start learning how to eat the right amount of the right food for the size you want to be. You don't have to give up white stuff or give up fruits or give up whatever stupid nonsense diets are telling you to give up. You need to be moderate, right? You need to make overwhelmingly good choices. And then if you do that, the 10 to 15, maybe even 20% of the bad choices you make won't interfere too much with your health. And so the exact formula for weight loss, you can read it in my book, Use Supercharge. It's also on fitzness.com, but it teaches you the exact formula for your particular weight goals. I'm going to tell you the simple format is you take your goal weight, you put a 0 on the end. That's your caloric budget for the day. You max out at that number daily. You will eventually shrink down to the size you'd like to be. I will dedicate a future show just to the formula, but know that it exists. And if you were thinking, I can't lose weight, I'm having menopause or whatever, that's bullshit. You can lose weight if you do what I'm telling you to do. That's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you just had 4 kids or if you're doing menopause or if your testosterone is dropped. You can lose weight. And I am talking to you. Stop shaking your head. If you haven't lost weight so far, it's because you haven't done the right thing. You haven't used the formula. Once you do, you will see extraordinary results. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the formula works even if you're eating junk food. But if you do junk food, you'll just be a miserable person. So what I want you to do is fill it with nutrition. You should start aiming for food that nourishes your body. This is separate from the formula. What I'm telling you is when you look at food, decide. It's basically the stuff you learned in kindergarten. Is this whole foods that are good for me, or is this processed or ultra processed foods that are going to set me back. And you know the difference. Beans, peas, carrots, tangerines, raspberries, Brussels sprouts, white, skinless poultry. Those are in the good category. Chips and white bread, French bread, ice cream, those things probably not in the good for you category, right? Things that are sugary or fried or just, again, overly processed. So if the food that's in front of you was grown from the ground in any fashion, that's what we want, minimally processed. Now, processed means it's been altered. So if you take a carrot and you chop it, that's step one of altering it. That's the step one of processing it, right? So any alterations you make to a product that has grown from the ground or grown from an animal, the second you start chopping it, that's processing. When you start adding preservatives, that's processing. When you start adding other ingredients of any sort, that's processing. When you add syrup or fry it, that's processing. And so the least processing is better. And mind you, if you go from whole carrot to chopped up carrot, you're not losing any nutrition. You're not doing any harm. It's the other things you might do to a carrot, maybe saute it in butter and add some sort of syrup and can it. That would be a bad type of processing for a carrot. If you're having a potato, if you bake it, that's great. If you put it in the microwave, that's great. If you put it on the grill, that's great. If you chop it up, that's great. If you dump it in oil, that's not great. So that's how we decide whether the foods we're eating are processed too much or processed in a way that doesn't negatively affect the food. But yeah, you should start looking for nutrition. Why? Not only because you can eat usually way more healthy food and be satisfied than the unhealthy food that leaves you unsatisfied, that really screws up your digestive system, but the healthy food, the whole grains, the beans, the nuts, the seeds, the fruits, the vegetables, those things, they nourish your body. They do good things. They build your immune system. They inspire energy. They are good for your vision. They are great for digestion. And so everything works better with quality nutrition. If you are eating the ultra processed or the sugar, fat, greasy, whatever processed foods, those things aren't giving you an advantage, right? And it's interesting when people get a cold, quite often they say, well, I need to get some vitamin C because I have a cold. Right. So what if you just every day you were choosing foods that make your immune system stronger? What if you were always choosing foods that benefited your brain and your body and your insides and your outsides, your skin, right? If you have sallow skin, it's not glowing, it looks gray, or you've got bags under your eyes, that probably is directly correlated to your nutrition, your hydration, and your sleep. And probably your exercise too, because sweat is good for your skin. So eat with intention. Eat in a way that is going to make all of your body parts feel great, look great, perform great. Got it? Food is fuel. Food matters. The other most important thing is hydration. Water, water, water. Water is the gold standard. It is not the only type of liquid that can be good for your body, but water is the gold standard. Now, some people say 64 ounces for everybody, which is absurd because everybody's not the same size and everybody doesn't live in the same climate and everybody doesn't exercise or get active in the same way. Get yourself a Yeti style cup, bottle, gallon, jug, whatever you got, and fill it with water and drink it throughout the day. And then if you want to include a Diet Coke here and there, or a hot tea, or a coffee, or an unsweet lemonade, whatever, fine. Fine, you can have those things too, but water is the gold standard. We're going to talk about that more in a future show. So let's move to exercise. Exercise. Be ready for it. The 4 pillars of fitness are what you need to know. If you are someone who walks every day, hooray! I love that you walk or run. That's great. One of the issues I take with the running and walking community is they tend to only run and walk, and that's just not good enough. So you need to be diverse with your training styles. And if you do, then you can qualify as truly fit. To be fit, you require proficiency in strength, cardio capacity, flexibility, and balance. All 4 pillars of fitness matter. even if you're superstar in one category. I mean, so runners, you're like, but I run a marathon. Okay. Well, let's think about this. Is a yoga instructor who only does yoga, is he fit? Does he qualify? Sure, he's bendy. Maybe he even has strong muscles, but what if he can't climb a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing? Is he fit? Well, of course he's not. His heart and lungs matter. They're in the equation. The same thing, runners or cyclists or whatever you got going on. Your cardiovascular capacity is incredibly important. Kudos. I love that. I want you to huff and puff and grow stronger there. But you also need to have the ability to lift, press, push, pull against resistance your whole body. If you are weak, you are not fit. If you are tight, if all your muscles are tight, you can't scratch your back, you can't touch your toes, you can't look over your shoulder, you are not fit. You have to be mobile, because if you are not mobile, you are limited in your capabilities because you can't reach and twist and turn and do those things, but you're also going to be prone to tight people are more prone to sprains, strains, and tears. The same thing goes for weak people. Weak people are prone to sprains, strains, and tears. And so cardio, yes. Strength, yes. Mobility slash flexibility, yes. The fourth pillar of fitness is balance training. You have to have good balance. If you don't have good balance, you are more likely to fall down. And do super fit people fall down a lot? No, they fall down sometimes, especially if they're adventurous and athletic or maybe not paying attention. But on the norm, fitter people are less likely to fall down. And I am, boy, am I exhibit A on this. So I move quickly. My brain, you would not like to be inside my brain. I'm so happy, but there's a tornado going on in there all the time, no matter what. If I wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, there's instantly a song in my head. I'm singing a song. I'm thinking about business. It just never, ever turns off. And so when I'm awake, it's even worse. It's constant. And I multitask. I think about 42 things at once while carrying things, while talking to my dog, while on the phone, while doing whatever. And so I regularly put myself in positions where I can and should fall down. You know what I'm saying? I'm hitting the step because I didn't lift my foot, because I wasn't thinking about the step, but I haven't fallen in a long time. Why? Because I have great proprioception. My balance is extraordinary. And so even though I walk around like a bozo not paying attention, I haven't fell in a long time because my body is so responsive. My body knows how to recover from hitting an imbalance. And that's why we do balance training. And so before we can even think, hey, foot, knee, hip, respond, shift your weight and don't fall down. My body just naturally does that. And so you can have that too, especially the folks up there living in the north where you got snow and ice. What in the world? Balance training should be on the tippy top of your list if you live in an icy climate. So strength, cardio, flexibility, balance. We're going to do a whole show dedicated to the four pillars of fitness. And we're going to do a whole show dedicated to strength training, because again, that's the fountain of youth. That is one of the most impactful things you could do for the quality and length of your life. And of course, the way you look. So 4 pillars, prepare. We've got the exact formula. We talked about nutrition, water, the 4 pillars. Next up, we got sleep. That's right. Sleep is not something wimpy people do. Sleep is something smart people do. If you would like to be energized, if you would like to wake up fresh and ready to take on your day with full gusto, sleep matters. It matters when you go to sleep. It matters when you wake up. It matters that you have a comfy sleep environment. It matters that you are willing to allow yourself to close your eyes and have a 20-minute nap in the middle of the day if you need to recharge. Your body is kind of like your phone. In fact, forget your body, it's your mind, right? When we're tired, we start shutting down. And so uh, taking a nap is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you care. And it's a sign that you want to be at your best. And so learning how to nap, setting up the right conditions and knowing what works for you is essential. So sleep, sleep, sleep. I implore you to prioritize sleep. And sometimes that might be for you late night owls to turn the TV off earlier, to turn the computer, to get off of playing games, or I don't know what you do late at night. There's only one thing you should be doing late at night if it's keeping you up, and that's good for your health too, right? Okay. And then lastly, the last segment that we're going to be focusing on is your mental health and there's so much that you can do for your mental health. Now, there are people that have mental disorders. Those are folks who may need a doctor's intervention, right? A counselor or a doctor. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, we go to the doctor when our knee hurts. When your heart hurts, when your brain is acting up, you go see mental health counselor, and there's no shame in that. But there's also steps you can take to make your mind stronger, to lift yourself up, improve your disposition. Those are habits formed that lead to recognize and repeatable behaviors. And so the same way you exercise your body doing cardio and strength and so forth, you can exercise your mind with certain steps. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to help turn you into all of you into bright siders, people who are always seeing the brighter side, people who are less likely to make excuses, less likely to file complaints on everything, less likely to bask in grief. You can choose this for yourself. Even when the grief is real, you can choose not to bask in it. And so those to me are the essential ingredients for a supercharged body, a supercharged mind. If you can take care of these things I've just packaged up in the show for you today, everything's going to get better. And then there's some extras we'll pile on. And that's really how I built the book, You Supercharged, right? These are the essentials. This is what people actually need for a fit body. But then we have complementary topics to discuss that will just elevate you even further. And, when it comes to aging backwards, I am talking about the way your body looks, feels, and performs. But the Golden Girls, even though in my mind, I think most people thought the Golden Girls, Rue McClanahan and Betty White and what's her name? The funny one, G.B. Arthur. We thought they were all 80. They were 50. They were younger than what J-Lo is right now. They were younger than J-Lo, but they look so really old, right? Holy smacks. I love the concept of aging. I hope that I can get to be 80 and 90, 100. However, damn, those awesome ladies, what did they do to themselves that they look like they were 80s when they were 50? Well, was it fashion? Sure. Was it their hair? Absolutely. Was it a consideration of skincare and things? Perhaps, right? So let's age backwards. Let's age backwards. Let's update our body, our mind, our wardrobe, our hairstyle, our skincare. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. And folks, I just love you so much. I sound like a broken record. I know you hear it all the time. Maybe you're one of those people who you don't have emotive people in your life that are willing to tell you how important they are to them, or you are to them, but you're so important to me. And I didn't actually want to do a podcast today. I didn't want to do it. I was occupied outside and I wanted to be with my dog, but I wanted to be with you. And that's the reality of it, is I just wanted to be with you. And so you're important to me. I hope these podcasts are meaningful to you. I get some great feedback, and all of that stuff really lifts me up. I mean, David Gare today reached out to tell me how much he loved the podcast with Danny Duncan and how he appreciated her sass and her wisdom, and that she used some colorful language. And then Jason Rue, who went from 400 and something pounds. Oh my God, he is now 169. He had already lost so much weight, and now he's using the exact formula, and he was aiming for 170. Now he's 169. Can you believe it? He's over 6 feet tall, 169. And so he reached out and said, hey, the pokes really help. And I created the pokes to help, right? So you could just get 5 minutes worth. If you couldn't listen to a whole 60-minute episode, maybe if I could just get in your ear for 5 minutes, most days, that you would get that little poke in the chest, the kick in the can to do better, to be better, right? To set you straight. I mean, if I could show up in your house each morning and say, come on, let's do this thing. You've got a great day ahead and you've got plans to make. You got to book your appointment with yourself to work out, and you're going to get some healthy food, and you're going to have a great night's sleep, and you're going to make friends and whatever. I would like to do that. So that's what the pokes are for. But again, 2026 is going to be such a wonderful year. I'm pumped. I hope you are too. If you have anything you're just being cranky about, let's undo that. Let's undo that. Choose better. Choose better. I promise I'm going to get to the mental health podcast very soon. But for right now, choose better. Choose better. Put a smile on your face, put on some happy freaking music, go outside, go love on some animals or some babies or whatever you got, but choose better. And do not let the political stuff going on in this country or anybody else's ruin your days. Do not sit around seething over what this pundit said or what that politician did. No, it's unacceptable for you to do that. You're in charge of your life, and what some congressperson or political leader has said or whatever, their interview is not cause for you to walk around pissy or you to be cranky or you to ruin your days. Okay. So you're getting that too. Step it up. Okay. Our communication tip of the day. I'm starting it off big. 2026. I want you to tell everybody that you love them. You got to do it. That's it. That's number one. You're going to just say it without feeling like a weirdo. You're going to say, I love you. And you can make it casual, like, love ya. You can just say that, or you can look them in the eye and hold their hand and say, I just want to let you know I love you so much. Okay. And then our song of the show. This one is really, really fun. The singer is Cat's Eye. And the song is called Internet Girl. And folks, you just have to listen to it. I'm not going to tell you what it tells you to eat, but the song will tell you to eat something, and it's so great. It's high energy. You could do strength training, you could do cardio, you could dance, or you could whatever you want to this song. In fact, you could just wash your face and put on makeup and it'll lift you up. But I put it on the fitzness playlist on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify, which is free, by the way, you just type in fitzness and you'll get the free playlist and you'll see Internet Girl by Cat's Eye on there. And I want you to let me know what you think. Again, if you haven't done so, click subscribe, maybe even leave a review. That's so nice. Oh, also for you, awesome, wonderful, beautiful, talented, sexy, hilarious people that have already purchased my book, You Supercharge, would you please, in a dish with a fish on a train in the rain, would you please leave me an Amazon review? That would mean so much. Even, I mean, just making an honest review, say whatever you have to say, particularly if there's something specific about the book you enjoy, specific chapter, specific topic, any way you can be specific, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help on occasion. I try to only be the giver, but on occasion, I ask for things, and that's what I'm asking for. Asking for an Amazon review and your love and adoration, because I love and adore you too. Thank you so much for listening. Get to work. Bye, team. Mwah!